George England Team LNG KW, giving you guys the current market update this week. Again, I apologize. I did not shoot this yesterday. Handling some showings, and again, sometime if it's too late, I don't want to do postings, so it stays fresh. Sometimes when you're late and burnt out already, the information is not as fresh. So I wanted to give you guys this fresh update today based on what the market is doing. We're going to analyze it based on the last 24 hours. And we're going to look at the market rate and talk about, is this a seller market, buyer market? What is going on? So let's jump into this, guys, right? So again, if you guys are new, welcome. I am George England Team LNG KW out of Roseville, Minnesota, and we cover a real estate market update every single week for you guys. Monday is the day we usually post on. If we miss Monday because of showings or other stuff that happens, because we're active agents in the industry right now, we will jump on Tuesday and show you guys, right? So let's look at this market update here, guys. All right. So if you guys can see, that is our current market update here in the Twin Cities. I have mapped it. If you can see right there, it's the last 24 hours. And I've also mapped it where it's within about 2 hours of the metro, so that we're talking about stuff that you guys are buying or selling, or, you know, people that are in those market. If we cover the whole Minnesota, I feel like there's too much data and it doesn't hold true to just the location that you might be currently living at, okay, or trying to buy into. So let's take a look at these numbers here. As of the last 24 hours, coming soon is 108. New listing is 148. That's good for a Tuesday, okay? Usually Tuesdays we don't see about 150 active, but that's good. Back on market, 18. Price decreases to 17. Wow, that number has gone up, guys. So that number has gone up because my assumption is that the higher the price these properties are, or the more work they need, and the fewer buyers that they have, which is going to happen in August, prices are dropping. So it makes it a great time if you're trying to buy, okay? Based on the numbers now, okay? Price increases 42. That number has gone up. So that's telling me that people have their price probably contracted at a lower price. When they actually went live, they raised the price. So normally I see that number like 10 or 20, percent or something, but 42 price increases, 10 to 20 is normally what I see. Pendings 168. That's a great number. Monday and Tuesdays, we usually see the higher pendings. Okay, that means that properties came out on the weekend, buyers and sellers agreed, and now we're pending. I have 2 of those that went pending this weekend. So I would definitely agree that the pendings are definitely should be higher Monday, Tuesdays. Closed 173. That's great for a Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday, cancellation 53, expire 42. Wow, those 2 numbers are high. Okay. Again, I've been seeing between 10 to 20 on those cancellation expired, but when you start seeing 40, 50, that means that either people have contracted for 6 months and they are burnt out, or can't sell, or the price is too high, or they won't come down. Or to be honest, maybe you have the wrong listing agent, maybe you have the wrong listing price, maybe you have the wrong breakdown of what your property could sell for. Again, cancellation just means you cancel the contract. Expire means your contract expired. Okay. So it is what it is. So again, if we look at those numbers, those to me, they look like really good numbers for a Tuesday. Okay. In our current market right now. Let's also take a look at that price decrease again. Okay. 217. What does it mean to, buyers out there? Okay. Even my active buyers. Okay. What that means ultimately to me is that there are properties that have been priced too high, or they're sitting in the market too long. Now is a good time to negotiate it. That's how I would interpret that. Okay. So again, if the numbers of property are higher, like let's say there's 300 properties coming out, then there's going to be less negotiation because there's more to choose from. But if there's fewer properties and your property's been sitting a long time, again, this could work both ways, okay? Because just because there are properties coming out, you don't know if it's 400,000 listing or 800,000 listing or 250 listing, right? So it's harder to compare apples to apples. But I would say that if you have a lot more choices, then either it's going to sell faster or sell slower. But again, I would say that wouldn't really be the right indication if you're comparing it based on what we covered. I can see how it can work both ways, but I would say that if you look at the property at about 150 that are coming out, and you look at the fact that let's say you're 60 days on market, because see, like I also have to analyze how many days on market your property's been there. Did you drop prices? How many showings did you get? And we can't analyze this based on what I showed you guys. It doesn't show us all this, okay? So that's why I'm pulling back in my head. It's hard to compare these apple to apples because they're not the same. You have to look at all the data of each one and then figure out how does this work. However, the case, if we look at the overview of what I just showed and shared, 150 new listing in the last 24 hours, and you have 212 reduction, then it definitely will tell us that these people have been sitting longer, or they're tired of waiting, or they've been dropping prices and they just keep dropping prices, right? Because normally I would say that the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is your sell window. Monday, Tuesday goes pending. And if you don't sell by Monday, Tuesday, you're dropping price again. Okay, so that's kind of why we like to do these every Monday or Tuesdays, but normally on Mondays, because we want you to see what did the market do over the weekend, what is it doing in the beginning of the week, and then what are the projections through the week. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, comment below. I would be happy to answer you personally or on the social media platform on YouTube, whichever one you're on. Let's go to the first question, okay, that I always post on here because I always hear people talk about this. And yes, we do a lot of postings every week. However, the case, I don't think people watch enough, or I don't think we reach the right audience, and they don't understand because they're asking these same questions, okay? What is the market rate doing? Okay, can I change the market rate? Can I buy down the market rate? How do I understand the market rate? Okay, it's complex because I'm not a financial lender, but I've been in the industry for 10 years on this side of the industry. So on the residential real estate side, we see this and we work with lenders all the time to close deals. So we understand it, but I can't teach you everything about it because we're not in that side of the business. Okay, that's the financial loan side. Okay, so the market rate over the weekend, I did a post. It was called a bonus post. Okay, if you guys saw that video, if you did not, go back and watch it. Facebook, it'll be there for 30 days. On my YouTube, it'll be there permanently. Okay, so if you saw that video, I posted that rates were going down to about 6.3, 6.2. You could buy it down depending if you're a DVA or FHA or conventional, depending on your credit score and your debt to income. That changes for every person. However, they dropped. Okay, this weekend it dropped, and as of yesterday and today, we're back up to like the 6.5, 6.5 and a half. I mean, again, it just depends. Okay. But I saw that it went back up, even though the market says it's dropping, it went back up. From what I saw on the weekend, it was 6.3, 6.25, and it went back up to 6.5. This number jumps like every weekend and every other couple of days, and we cannot control this number. I wish we could, but like I mentioned, if you could lock a 6.25 and you don't even have a house to lock, you cannot take advantage of the deal anyways, right? So just understanding the market rate does not make all the difference. You got to be approved to buy, already looking to buy, and then, okay, what are the rates doing, right? And let's say that it jumps over 7, you don't want to buy, then don't buy. That's okay, right? However, if the rate were dropping and you bought something, and let's say you had 3 weeks to lock and the rates were still dropping, then you can have your lender take a look at that. That's what one of my clients did. And as the rates are dropping and they know it's going to drop, they'll lock it when it drops to where they think it's the lowest, and they'll let you know so that you'll get a better rate. Okay. So there is no way to really time it that, okay, if the rates drop to 3% today, I'm going to get approval. It takes me about a week to get approval. And then I'm going to go shopping. It takes me 30 to 60 days to find a house and win. And then, okay, now what's the rate doing? By that time, it could have jumped back up to 6% already. You see, like now in the past decade, it wasn't like that. So I get where you guys are thinking. Okay, in the past decade, the rates were stuck at right around 3.25, 3.5, 3.75, and it just kind of stayed there the whole year. It's not like that anymore, guys. Okay, that was like the one time in history that we ever dropped to that 3%, and then 2% in COVID time, 2.5. We're not going back to that. The inflation is just crazy, and there's too many buyers today. They're inflating the marketplace. We're not going back to that. It's not just people buying it. Okay, you have all these huge investment companies that are hedge funds buying thousands of property across the nation. They're driving up their property value because they know they're so cheap with the interest rate that they're spending money, investment money, buying these properties and selling it back to all of us. Okay, that's why the values have inflated. So in order to counter that, the federal government does not want to drop the rates and have the inflation go even higher. They're raising the rates so less people buy, that only the people who can afford it will buy. And then as the rates are changed and you're ready to refi, you can refi. Okay, at least that's what my opinion is. Okay, now let's go to the second question here. Sellers or buyers market. So you guys may or may not know, if you're not in the industry or if you're from the industry, you may or may not understand it. This was a crucial thing I was very curious about when I started in real estate over a decade ago, when I was in the investment side, learning from coaches and thinking about real estate. And then on the residential side, I got to see it up front. How do you know if it's a buyer or a seller market? Okay, these two things. Comment below if you know. I would love to see your answer to understand where you got it from, what you're thinking. Everybody understands this probably a little differently. There's data to showcase this. That's, a way that people show you. And there's also a way to know by just understanding the marketplace when you're out there shopping. Okay, so I would teach you from the two different ways, the simple way to understand it. If you're not an agent, then you don't have the market data to look at, right? So how do you understand it? Well, you have to do an analysis based on whether you're using Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia or some other website, or call your real estate agent, okay? But you have to analyze, how long are properties sitting on the market in the market that I am in, not in California, in the market that I'm in, okay? If I'm in Minnesota, how long are properties on the market? If they're on the market for if all the inventory is on the market for more than 6 months, okay, more than 6 months time, you have, 6 months on average to sell, that is considered a buyer's market. What does that mean? That means that buyers dictate the price. There's more properties and there's fewer buyers. They get to dictate what they want to offer, what they want you to fix, what they want and don't want, and you don't have a choice as a seller. Okay, we call that a buyer's market. Okay, on the flip side of that, if there are properties less than 6 months and they're selling in 2 months and 3 months, which is kind of what we see right now, 2 months, 3 months, 3 days, 2 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, that's a seller's market. That means that the sellers can put something on the market, they make the most. That's also why they're inflating these values with some of these agents that I don't know how they got some of these numbers. But that's why they're inflating these values, because there's more buyers than property. Therefore, every one property could have 50 buyers. So therefore, out of 50 buyers, maybe 5 of them offer, and it's competitive. So that means you're still going to get top dollar. So we call that a seller's market. Okay, which means the sellers dictate the price, not the buyers. Okay, and it's not just the price and terms and everything else that comes with it. Okay, why you have to maybe cover your own closing costs, why you have to pay a little bit higher for the price, or ask for less to be done, or even waive your inspection. Okay, that's how you know it's a seller's market. Okay, however, as an agent, how would you know it if you didn't understand those numbers? Well, it's pretty obvious. If you go out there and you show, let's say, 10 properties, okay, and out of those 10, let's say your buyers like 3. Okay, that's probably the real data, to be honest. Okay, I say like 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. I don't even know if it's truly that, okay, in today's market. But let's say your buyers like 3 out of those 10 properties. Maybe one of those you offer on. Okay, if it's good enough, you maybe offer one, maybe you hold one as a backup. It's never 3 for 3. Okay, properties out there, price wise and term and quality, is not that it's not that consistent. So I would say out of the 10, you've picked 3, you have 2 that are your favorite, you offer one. If you offer that one that you guys like, and when you call that agent, he said, oh, by the way, dude, we got listed yesterday and we got 5 offers already, and you're number 6. If you want to submit, we're going to review offer by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That's 100% a seller's market. Okay, it could be a seller's market at 250, it could be a seller's market at 300, it could be a seller's market at 450. It depends. Okay, that number depends on how much real estate you do, what locations you cover, how much business you do in the industry to come across that. Is it a seller's market across the whole, all the numbers in our current real estate market in Minnesota? No, it's not. Okay, there are certain price points in our market. Obviously, the lower, the higher competition, right? So there's a certain benchmark in every community, in every single market, that becomes a seller's market. When you go above that number, it becomes a buyer's market. So a little hidden secret, okay, for you guys watching, I appreciate your time. So I want to share things with you guys so you understand this is what we do in our team. This is how we help our clients. This is why we win deals. This is why we go pending and we build equity long term with our clients. But again, this is also something you have to understand as an agent and do this lifelong so you understand when to implement certain strategies and when not to use it. However, the case, if you're out there negotiating and you're understanding the marketplace, sometimes the lower markets are in a buyer market and people don't know, which means nobody's competing with you. Sometimes in a little bit higher market, it becomes a buyer's market. Again, nobody's competing with you, right? So if you're selling across the board in multiple locations and multiple price points representing multiple type of clients, you will see this. And this is what I've seen in the last decade in my career, is that we're buying in the right price point at the right time, at the right location with the right buyer. We're getting good deals most of the time. Okay. Not all the time, because most of the time we are still in a seller's market. Okay. And if you're, let's say you're buying 400,000, and my opinion, that's a buyer's market today. No, seller's market today. Okay. There's a lot of people that want to buy in that price point. So if there's a lot of people buying that price point and you want to buy that price point, I can't help you get a lower price because everybody's competing for the same thing. However, location shift or price shift down or price shift up. Let's say you're buying 400, that's a seller's market. Why if you bought 420 is that a seller's market? Maybe a buyer market, maybe a seller market. See, I don't know unless I know the location and I know what you're trying to buy. So again, the secret is that you got to understand your market. You have to understand how to negotiate right, which markets to buy, which locations to buy in. When do you make this offer? When do you not make this offer? I've got some great negotiations last week with new builds, 20 to 30,000 difference in purchase price. New builds. Okay, we got good deals on those. Okay, some of them not so much because the market wasn't a seller's market. It wasn't a buyer's market, it was a seller's market. So again, most of these, it still has equity long-term built out, and so it makes sense. However, if you're going to negotiate the right deal, your agent needs to understand the sell market versus a buyer's market, understanding when are the builders reducing prices, when are they getting incentives, how do you negotiate that in? It's not by accident, guys. You don't just hire a brand new agent, you get these great deals from new builds or pre-existing. You have to understand the marketplace. And as you are in this industry long enough, you understand when the right time is, when to negotiate, when not to negotiate, then you get the best deals. Okay. That's probably why all of my clients in the last decade have all made money and they're in great positions. However, it doesn't mean that it's easy, right? It doesn't mean you don't have bills to pay. It doesn't mean that you can lock the lowest rate. That depends on the marketplace, your debt to income, your credit score. Those things make a difference. However, the option to buy the right home at the right price, yes, those are always opportunities because that's what we're looking for. Okay. So again, keep in mind that the buyer market, seller market is very crucial to you making money in the future. So you got to understand that, and your agent should understand how to explain this to you without a roadmap. Okay. It should be something they already know, or I don't know how they do this business. Okay. The other last question is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? Okay. With what I just said, I would say yes. Okay. Is the rate perfect? No. Okay. Is the rate average across the last 30 years? Yes, 100%. Okay. Average interest rate in the country that we live in today in America is always between 6% and 9% on the high side. We are in that range. So that means it's still a good time. Is it a great time? No, it's a good time. Okay. However, the case, it could be a great time for somebody who has more capital and a bad time for somebody who has less money. You see, it kind of depends. Okay. At the same time, with that knowledge, two of my buyers that just got active and they just got approval within 2 days, we locked two deals. And these are two brand new bills. Okay. So if the brand new bill is a better option and you get a better deal, why am I buying pre-existing? These are the questions you need to talk to your agent about, and they should be able to explain to you, or it doesn't make sense. Okay. So again, how do you know if it's the right time to buy now or sell now? Well, I think it's a great transition time all the time. However, depending on who you know, what you know, and why you want to do what you want to do, all of those things need to line up. So when I talk to anybody, okay, we always try to cover what do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish this? And okay, how do we get there? What's the best path to get there that'll save you the most money, that'll make you the most money long term if we did it now? or do we need to wait 3 months or 6 months from now, right? So we analyze that. And of course, if you look at the marketplace right now, there's a lot of first time buyers, okay, which normally the market always has, but there is a lot of those first time buyers. Okay, I have quite a few of them. They're buying the first time. They don't have a lot of money down. Their affordability has a certain, percentage because they've never bought before. So let's say that they're when I did the last number pool in the metro here, we were around 370 average. I would say that's a fair statement. Is that the average of what people can afford? Probably not. I would say that the average that people really could afford is like 300K. Okay, that's already over 2,000. However, the case, you can't get to a good enough home unless you're over 300,000. So that's why I would say that the average sales now in Minnesota is about 350 to 375. That's probably where we are. Okay, is that where people want to be? No. Is that where they have to be? Yes. That's why we see that number. Okay. However, the case, if the values are between 300 to 400,000 on average, to give that a whole number, then if you're buying a little bit above that, does that mean you have less competition? Maybe, right? But how far do you need to go to get less competition? That depends. Okay, depends on the location, depends on the house you're looking for, and depends on who's selling it. Okay, so if you are selling the first time, do you have a bigger pool of buyers right now? 100% yes. Okay, that's why I'm talking about this, so you guys understand that when you're trying to sell and you're trying to rebuy, you don't want to buy the same thing because you're selling higher than when you bought. Why would you buy high and then you can't sell anymore, right? If you're buying the first time, you buy what you can afford. That's what it is. Buy right, buy what you can afford, negotiate what you can. Hopefully you win, and then you move on and you figure out how to build equity, and then you sell it someday, you do it again. Okay. However, if you own a house already, you have good equity, why would you not sell, pull your equity out? You could transition to a new build or something a little bit farther, or something that has land or something that's bigger, and put some money down, pull out a HELOC or equity position, depending on what you want to do, and lower your payments some. Will your payments be up a little bit higher? Yes, because the rate is higher today. But you're transitioning all your equity anyways. Okay, so it depends on what you're trying to do. But I would say that if you're trying to get to the next house, now is a great time for that, because there's a lot of buyers still waiting for the houses they cannot find. There's not enough properties out there. So if you're selling your first time home and your home is what I call like a 322, 1,500 square, in that range, okay, under 2,000 square foot, that is usually what we call a first time home buyer. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for something to move into, not too big, not too small, something they can afford. That's where they fall. Okay. So if you're selling that, you're cashing out the top because the market value has gone up. You're able to go to your goal, and maybe you have no competition. Maybe we're negotiating price or terms with a new build or a pre-existing. So it's a win-win on both sides. Okay. I've had a lot of those. And so I see that picture. However, it's not right for everyone. Okay. So it depends on your situation, depends on your case. This is per case scenario. But I would say that if you looked at the data that I just shared, okay, I would say it's a great time to sell and a great time to rebuy. Okay. And then you lock the lowest rate you can get right now. Okay. And then you hold it for the next 1 or 2 years. See what the market rate is going to do. My assumption is it's going to drop after 1 or 2 years, a little bit lower than where we are now. Hopefully it goes below 6. Okay. Let's say it gets to 5%. Then you do a refi. So technically you bought lower because of the market, and then now your rate has lowered. So now you're at a better position long term to build equity. Okay. However, if you want both of those to hit at the same time, it's not going to happen. Okay. So again, I know it's been 24 minutes now going, so I appreciate you guys and your time. If you have any questions, comment below. I love talking about this side of the business because it's not about buying and selling homes. It's about your equity position, understanding the marketplace, knowing when to buy, knowing when to sell, knowing like, how do I make this decision? I'm thinking about getting married the first time, buying a house the first time, raising a family. All of these things are things that we encounter as human anyways in our life. It's better to have ammunition to know what you're talking about and hire somebody who can help you understand this so that you build your foundation correctly. You don't lose money. You go back to what Warren Buffett said, right? Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. I live by the same theory in my real estate journey with my clientele. Buy right, never lose money. Sell right, never lose money, right? And never forget that you never want to lose money, because if I lose you money, I lose money, right? I don't want you to lose money. I want to make you money. I want to make sure that you're buying correctly, you're positioning yourself correctly. You're technically renting the house to sell to somebody else someday. That's kind of what it looks like if you're trying to make money. Now, you could buy a forever home. That's not a problem. Okay. But even in your forever home, I have never met anybody who wants to buy a forever home and lose 500,000, right? Nobody wants to lose money. So if you're buying right, making good decisions, you're going to be fine. Okay. And this is within any market that you buy in. There's always a way to buy right. There's always a right time to buy, a wrong time to sell, a right time to sell, wrong time to buy, right? All of these things, depending on who you know, what kind of loan product you're using, all of these things matter. That's why I'm passionate about teaching people about this, because it is very crucial to you making the right decision so that your future is secure, your life is good, and that you could pass on to your kids should you want to one day, or teach your siblings or kids or friends or family how to get this done, right? My goal is to really get this to as many people as we can, teach people as we can, and serve them. If you hire my team, we're here to serve you and to help you make the best decision possible. All right. So I appreciate you guys and your time. Please like, share, comment with anybody who wants to see this or needs to see this. Please send it to them. Our goal is to deliver as much as we can to people and make sure that you have a good experience. But again, I will see you guys again next Monday. Stay tuned for updates. We will do posting again on Friday. Should we see another shift that I need you guys to know, because again, we're here to give you guys as current information as we can based on the local market. And if you're not from here, don't worry about it. We can understand your market as well. Even though we don't have the MLS access, we're connected to agents in 30 to 40 countries across the world. We have over 150,000 agents in KW. We have connections everywhere. So should you need a great agent or agent that has a similar mindset to help you and guide you through this process, I can help you guys do that. Every year I have a few from every different states all over the US that call me, and we got it done with great transition and great experience. So we'd love to help you guys make that happen. Okay. Appreciate you guys and your time. Please like, share, comment. Go to my YouTube and watch this again. Facebook only keeps this for 30 days. I will see you on my YouTube. So subscribe so I can share this with you guys every Monday. And again, I do real talk every Tuesday. So I will see you guys Monday on the next drop. All right. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.